Wait for some people to show up. In the meantime, while folks are arriving, I'll do a couple more tincture drops here. I'm about 100 milligrams or so into this tincture, which I've just reviewed. Review will probably be out next week for the actual select 1-to-1 tincture, but my dog is bitching in the background. She's really mad because another dog is in the spot that she wants to be in. So you might even be able to hear her. What is it? What the hell? She's not very smart. She's Frog, come here, girl. Come here, Frog. I'll make it okay. Come on. I didn't say you, buddy. So many dogs in this world. There's so many dogs. Okay, well, let's go ahead and do 2 more of these. This will be another 20 milligrams or so of a THC. It's just a little extra before I get to the volcano back there. Hello. Sublingual under the tongue for a couple minutes. Thanks, Billery. I appreciate it, man. And yes, this is another nightcap. Oh. You can see the oil on my lips. Currently with some oil or some tincture on my tongue, so that's why I'm a little, not tongue-tied, but well, whatever. Woo! Okay. Let's get a little bit of the Arizona. Derek, thanks for joining us, Derek. As Billery had just said there, yep, I'm decided to come in for another little, I like that, nightcap. That's a great way of putting it, Billery. So I thought I'd come in, do a couple volcano bags with you guys, say hi. Oh, I've got a premiere set for next Monday. Holy hell, my dog. Premiere set for next Monday for a new review. I actually shot this and edited it and put the whole thing back together back in March, and I'm just now releasing it. So if things look a little different, you'll know why. I just kind of lost track of wheat stuff at the time and let it sit in the back burner. But it's a big one. It is a big one, and we are doing the Ardent Nova. I'm finally reviewing the actual Ardent. We do a little experiment. We actually use the Ardent, make a whole batch of cookies, do the whole decarbing, and come up with a verdict on the Nova. Looks like we got some new folks here. Oh, not new. An old friend, and by old friend I mean somebody we've been hanging out with for the past couple of weeks, and really happy to do so. Good old Hillbilly Hippie is back, joining us from the backwoods of Georgia. Hillbilly Hippie says the wife will be joining us soon, as she loves the videos. Well, glad. I'm so glad. Thanks. Hello to the missus whenever she arrives. Hello, Mrs. Hillbilly Hippie. Manny509 gives me a little bit of a nice little smiley face emoji right back at you. Lauren Roberts says, I'm here already. Well, welcome. Hello, Frog. I didn't even realize you were there on the camera. This is the dog that was just whining about not getting to go where she wants to go. So, welcome, Lauren. Roxy R. Hello. Thank you for joining us, all our new folks here. Lenore Noor says, first time tuning in, but long time watcher. First time caller, long time listener, first time caller. Pretty much seen every video you've posted. Got me through a lot of study time. What's the diddly-o? Well, Lenore, thanks so much for watching and being a long time fan. I appreciate that. What's the diddly-o? That is a very odd expression, the diddly-o. But I'll take it to mean what's cracking, what's popping, or what's crack popping. And not too much. Thanks for joining us. Manny says, stay stoned, my friend. I intend to. Speaking of, let's go hit up the volcano. Got her preheated back here. Got the dog here in the camera. Where you going? Where you going? That's you don't get any more food for the day. You don't. Look, another one. Now that we, with the wheat studio gone, the dogs are free to roam, and they make more of a presence than they do. Okay. Roxy R says, it's been a while. Hope you are well during this pandemic Thursday. Well, thanks, Roxy, and thanks for coming back and hanging out. I know it's been too long since our last sort of tranche of videos, but happy to be back. Happy you're joining us. And I'm doing good. I hope you are doing as good as can be considered, Roxy, in this brave new world. That's neither brave nor is it even sort of Aldous Huxleyan utopian. It's dystopic, which I had no idea. One, I had no idea that Peacock, the sort of final of the giant streaming juggernauts that all launched this year, I had no idea it was out. It apparently came out like last week. And then I had also no idea that their like flagship show was an adaptation of Brave New World that's supposed to suck. So I don't really understand why they thought Brave New World would have been like the most sort of compelling thing to draw viewers in. Maybe they're like, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Maybe they were like, oh, Handmaid's Tale did well. Here's another sort of dystopic fiction. Maybe it'll work out for us. There's the if you're ever into the worlds of media criticism or not even, well, I won't go into the media criticism side, but maybe I will. There's this idea that the world will end and will sort of devolve into two totalitarian scenarios. One being the George Orwell 1984 scenario, where it is a totalitarianism of Big Brother watching everything you do. And we all know the 1984 style Big Brother. But then, of course, there's the Aldous Huxleyan Brave New World dystopia, which is the dystopia of your own making. The dystopia that is having your every need, want, and whim catered to, and the just unending succession of good feelings can be its own purgatory. And there's this idea that, like, which way are we gonna be doomed? Are we gonna doom ourselves with our decadence, or are we gonna doom ourselves with our paranoia? And it looks like the answer is both. So, fuck you, Orwell. Fuck you, Huxley. And may you both rot in hell. No, that's not actually true. Huxley seemed like a pretty cool dude. He was big into the psychedelic scene, believe it or not. But now you know, Brave New World, on the streaming service called Peacock. Don't watch it because it apparently sucks. There's your bit of advice. I've never read Brave New World nor 1984. I've never even read Animal House. I've never read any Orwell. I know people who say that you can skip all the Orwell fiction and say that the real good Orwell is his essays. I still don't care. I'll probably never read them. I'm not I really don't give a shit too much about having to have an appreciation for the classics. I think that's just a weird thing we say. We just use it as an excuse to ignore new great art because somebody somewhere determined that this art that was in the past is the best art and the art that is the truest. It's just bullshit. Okay. Sorry, I let the chat get away from me there. Oh, Mrs. Hillbilly Hippie is here. Welcome, Lauren Roberts. You said I'm already here? I see. Okay, I get it. Hello, Lauren, Mrs. Hillbilly Hippie. Thanks for joining us. Philip Baca says, perfect timing, Senor Wheats. Well, thank you. I'm glad you joined in for our little nightcap. I think I'm going to steal that phrase. Thank you, Billary, for the nightcap terminology. King Yeti says, got some runts flowers. Well, enjoy it and welcome, King Yeti. Glad you could join us. Hope all is well with you and the little ones. Lenore Noor says, I got it from The Simpsons, but yes, you're spot on with the meaning. Oh, of course. Now I feel really bad for not having caught the reference. The Simpsons, man. I mean, I know everybody. We love to talk about how The Simpsons was so good for those first 9 seasons, and what a dumb trope that is, and nobody has anything new and novel to say. But man, those first 9 seasons of The Simpsons are so good. I grew up on them. From the age of like 8 till, I don't know, high school or whatever, I would watch, my local Fox TV channel would have 2 reruns on at 10 o'clock every night, and I caught them every single night growing up on classic Simpsons reruns in the mid-90s. And on my jacket here, I'm not big into enamel. I'm not like an enamel pin guy, but just to give you my Simpsons bona fides. Here is my Poochie enamel pin. Poochie, the greatest character in The Simpsons ever. It's sad that he died on his way back to his home planet, but he will always be remembered fondly as the coolest little dog there ever was. Poochie. Phil Bucko says, that dog is a tax write-off. That dog is a sack of meat and a shit-filled meat sack sandwich. She's old. She's not bright. She's kind of grumpy at her age. She smells all the time. But she's a great dog, man. Great Danes, they're great. They're great dogs. Mr. Bill's back. Hello, welcome back, Mr. Bill. Oh no, I'm so glad you joined us. And King Yeti, in addition to the Runts flower, got some Holy Grail shatter. The most divine of all the strains. Mr. Bill says, you got a new bag? Yes, I dug another one out of the 6-pack that I bought not too long ago. King Yeti says, Aldous Huxley was a Luciferian. I did not know that about Huxley. I'm not surprised he was... I knew he was kind of like a mystic, too. Like, the dude was into, like, mysticism and shit. Like all those, sort of postmodernist novelists of that era. King Yeti says, him and Jack Parsons and Walt Disney and L. Ron Hubbard used to go to the desert and conjure demons. Wow. I was unaware of that. That is quite the murderer's row of anti-Semites, flim-flam artists, and in American intellectual powerhouses. Wow. So weird you mentioned Walt Disney. My wife and I just watched amazing YouTube channel, truly, genuinely amazing. And one of this kind of YouTube channel is an example of when the internet can be just fantastic and wonderful and what we all hoped it would be. Hi, buddy. I know you need pet, but we'll get back to you. I promise, buddy. You'll be okay. He's an 80. What was I saying? Disney. Yes. Good YouTube channel. Good internet. YouTube channel. It's called Defunct Land, and it is about the original concept of it, I guess, was an idea about giving amusement park rides that have been sent off to the big theme park in the sky, kind of like an oral history. So this guy by the name of Kevin Perger, he has a YouTube channel. That's what he does is he tells the story of dearly departed, much beloved theme park rides, like the Back to the Future ride at Universal, or some ancient ride at Disney. You know what I'm talking about. Anyways, they're incredibly well researched. I mean, just incredibly diligently researched. And the most recent one I watched was actually not about a ride, but more about specifically Walt Disney and his near prudishness. He was a prude. Roxy R says, glad to see you are doing well. My son Nate says hello. Well, hello, Nate. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're staying healthy. Philip Baca says, you are so spooky. Is that because of this like white haze behind me, or is there some kind of like vampire vibe I give off of? I don't know why I went vampire for spooky. Manny509 says, how much was the volcano, bro? Manny509, they are not cheap. They are not cheap at all. But they are incredible pieces of engineering. I've had mine for 4 years now, maybe over 4 years. Yeah, over 4 years. And it was $450, $500, somewhere around there. I think this model no longer exists. They now have two volcano models. The analog original, which is basically just like this one, but it has far less precise temperature controls. It's just like a knob, and that's pretty much the real difference. They have that one for $400, and then they have the new fancy volcano, which I have not tried, but I've heard great things about, where the big innovation is you can essentially just hook a piece of essentially tubing up to the volcano itself and use it almost like a hookah, but with weed in it. And it sounds really cool. Haven't tried it, so I can't vouch for it. But I can tell you that I have no problem recommending the volcano at the cost I paid for it. It is astounding how well it works and continues to work, especially things. I find a lot of, well, I guess it's nice because it's all German made, German crafted stuff. Because I find a lot of weed tech, a lot of weed, vaporizers and fancy little gizmos are not. The build quality is terrible on this stuff, and they all fall apart pretty quickly. But the volcano runs just as well as I got it the day I bought it. Jason Andrews says, I'm here. I missed the stream last night because it was later. I was sleeping. Sorry about that. Mr. Andrew says, just gave my cat her ear meds and about to smoke out. Oh, I had to do the old ear meds for one of my dogs recently. Got a little ear infection, and that ear cleaner, whatever it is, it's the #1 ear cleaner for dogs on Amazon. I've used it once before. That stuff is remarkable product. Gets that ear infection right out. Don't know why I'm talking about dog ear infections. King Yeti says 1984 is really a love story. Boy, I am really behind on chat if we're talking. If I'm still only reading now about 1984, my bad. I have heard that art. I've heard that made. Actually, a guy I really like listening to literary criticism about makes that exact argument that 1984. Sure, it's good for like teaching your freshman high school lit class about fucking literary symbolism and shit, but really he's like, it's actually quite a good romantic love story. So Stephen Metcalf, if you're out there, your argument made an impact on me. Ryan Brighton says, on a scale of 1 to 10, how high are you? Ryan, I'm about 120, 30 milligrams into this tincture, and I am 1 volcano bag in. I would say I'm at a 6, which is quite high. Look at the eyes. You can tell the more I ramble, the higher I am. The further behind in chat I get also, the more high I am. Lenore says, how hard is it to give a cat meds compared to a dog? Never been around cats. Well, I'm sure Jason can help you with that more than I can. There he is. Ed. Welcome, Ed. Welcome, Fryan, Texador, Mr. or Mrs. Texador. Welcome. L. Lopez. Welcome. What's good from Texas? Well, what's good from Long Beach? It's good everywhere. Hey, hi, buddy. Good to see you. I know. You want to come? Do you need to say hi to people? Yeah. Anyways, Jason says I'd say seasons 4 to 7 of Simpsons is dynamite. I agree. I'm a 2 to 9. I can watch every episode in seasons 2 to 9 pretty much any day of the week. Although both of my favorite episodes, I think, are in season 9, which is the season that people say is the season that, things start to, the quality starts to slip a little bit, but those people be damned. I think both the Poochie episode is in season 9, and my also favorite episode, Grimy, the Homer's, his work rival, Grimy, Frank Grimes. They're both meta commentaries on The Simpsons, which is probably reasons I love them. I tend to love shit that makes fun of itself or recursive shit like that. I overvalue cleverness. I always have. I always will. Hi. You're a dog. Yeah. But yeah, those 2 episodes. Chef's kiss. Andrew says, what does your YouTube name and why is your channel art a pair of poop-stained underwear? Wow. Andrew, bring in the questions. Welcome back, Andrew. Wheats meant weed eats or we eat. It was just a lousy pun or like play on words. But now that we don't do traditionally just edibles as much, people don't get it as much, but it was just like weed eats or we eat. That's why there are 2 E's. That's why there are 2 E's. And why is the channel art a pair of poop-stained underwear? Now, Andrew, for that question, you're gonna have to be subscribed to Wheat's Ultra Platinum. In Wheat's Ultra Platinum, we do reveal the near mystical nature of the comically oversized shitty pair of underwear, which I don't know where they are right now, which really saddens me. They were they're novelty size underwear. They're like has like a 4-foot wingspan, ass span, I guess is the traditional term. ISM 305 says the volcano sucks. Oh, ISM 305, we are all entitled to our opinions, even when they are hurtful to our beloved volcanoes, who are not sentient and can't be hurt. Jason says, what is your take on people who wrote articles about how Homer became hella stupid on the show? I think he's better being stupid as opposed to early stuff where he was super mad at Bart all the time. I do agree, Jason. If you go back and you watch those early episodes of The Simpsons, it is 100% making child abuse comic. I mean, Homer throttling and choking his son is played up for laughs, and like he was mean, he was abusive, he was not an oaf, he was an ogre, and I think they very sort of wisely kind of sanded down some of the edges of Homer. Now that does have trade-offs, because some of the best parts, you know, some of Homer's greatest moments came from his more defaulty moral compass early on than later. But yeah, I think they wisely had to make Homer less of an asshole and more of into an imbecile. And something must have worked, because what season are we on? 30 something, maybe? I don't know. I think 30, 31, 37, a million. I did ride the Simpsons Ride at Universal Studios. I went to Universal Studios basically 2 weeks before everything in the United States shut down in March. And it was so great. There was nobody there. The Simpsons Ride was the longest I had to wait that day, for like the 6 minutes it takes to basically get the people through the experience. Simpsons Ride. It is just a motion car with a video, but it is excellent. And mind-boggling how it works when you actually like leave your little pod and realize that everybody's just looking at this same screen. Don't need to go into that. Jason says, I think he's better as being stupid, as we went over that. And good observation. King Yeti said, I always thought it was weed we eat. That is an even better origin story than the one I just came up with there. But like all good young organizations, we'll just change our starting story later, and we'll steal that. Lenore says, how was your transition moving into a SoCal area? As a fellow Tennessean, West Tennessee, I've considered also making that transition for a potential job. Ah, okay. Well, Lenore, things will be different, because West Tennessee is very different than East Tennessee, as you are well aware. So, Lenore, were you from Memphis or from some other sort of more rural part of West Tennessee, which outside of Memphis is very rural? I mean, most of Tennessee is, but there's a lot of empty counties out that way. But, you know, East Tennessee is very different than West Tennessee, but the most things will still be translatable. I found absolutely no problems transitioning. I would say the one sort of difficulty, or the one sort of, I don't know, thing that I kind of regretted, or was like, was the fact that I hadn't done it earlier. Because it's great. And Lenore, Memphis, West Tennessee, it's hot and miserable all the fucking time. Southern California, you just can't quite understand how, it's so cliche to say and talk about, but it is really remarkable how much it feels your quality of life improves when being outside, for the 6 months of the middle of the year are not torturous, and that they're actually mostly pleasant. It's so great. Now, I guess what might you have problems transitioning with? I guess it depends if you are a more culturally conservative person. I mean, it is certainly more diverse, way more diverse. Skin tones of every shade and color, languages of every origin and dialect. It is also, so yeah, if those kind of things seem intimidating, watch out. But I assume you're an optimistic, open-minded kind of person. Andrew says, have you tried the Puffco Peak? It is often very overrated in my experience. I have it. I do like it. I do find it flimsy. The little atomizer on mine has broken like twice already, which goes back to the thing I was saying about the volcano. And it's just, gotta love that build quality. Munch RMX says G-Pen Connect is better than the Puffco Peak. I've heard a lot of people say that. I've never tried it. And Lenore confirms Memphis. And King Yeti says, what does conservatism have to do with diversity? Nothing. Traditionally, they should be totally divorced. They should have, those two things should be, one is a ideology, and the other one is just a set of scenarios, and they are not inherently in conflict in any way. Inherently, but in practice, sometimes things are different. Or why would diversity be a bad thing to a conservative? I don't think it would be, King Yeti. I think actually quite the opposite. I think, I think I was ranting a little bit last night about how I wish we would fill out Midwest cities with more young people, give them like sort of work subsidies. I wish we would fill up our Midwest cities with a lot of young, diverse folks that need housing and maybe some kind of assistance in finding gainful employment. And I think it would be good for not only, obviously, those young folks that you would help with housing and job placement and that kind of stuff, but I think it would also be quite good for the communities in which the people are being, in which the people are going to, because communities tend to thrive with new, young people with good ideas. America's kind of the story of that. But the only reason I said that was not because I think those things are in conflict or that a conservative person should not be exposed to diversity. I only bring it up because I know sometimes, unfortunately, there are people who find the idea of living in a place with many people who are not like them to be not something that they want to experience, which to some degree, okay, fair enough. Of course you want to live around people like you. You want to live around your family, your friends. You want to know that you can, I mean, it's an inherently human thing. I get it. That being said, that kind of idea as well, or that kind of notion leads to, I don't need to keep talking about this kind of stuff. Ew. We all have strong opinions already. I'm going to convince nobody of anything. All I will do is alienate, which is unfortunate. Conservatives historically are not interested in the benefit of everyone, just themselves. That is more of a libertarian type of, that is the libertarian philosophy, which often does overlap quite a bit with conservative ideology. But theoretically speaking, conservatives should be focused on community and family above, the individual and the supremacy of the one smartest brain. I don't know, though. I really shouldn't be talking about political ideologies on the internet, especially ones that I do have strong feelings for, that I try to be as objective as I can, because you never know when the old rant might come out. So, Larry David says, welcome, Larry. Big fan. Seinfeld. I don't watch as much Curb as I probably should, but, I love all the gifts that you're in, Larry. Wait, that's Larry David? No, that's Larry David, right? Is the Seinfeld Curb Your Enthusiasm guy? I hope. I am high. Larry, says, best dispensaries in Long Beach, Lakewood area. I use Showgrow, Haven, but their edibles are pricey. Larry, the Connecteds, there's one in Belmont Shore and one on Cherry Street, way north in Long Beach, that are both really great. I know the reviews on Weed Maps, for whatever reason, aren't perfect, but I will always love them for a variety of reasons. One, they are one of the few dispensaries that they don't hide their prices. They're, what you see is what you get, which is exactly what it should be. They don't, there's no sticker shock of you're buying one thing and then they put 40% tax on you as you're checking out. Nope, the price is as listed, both online and in store. And I can't tell you how great that is, because most people use that tax cheat to, they can say, it is simply to deceive you. There's no other way around it. I don't understand why it's not legally required that the price that you list reflects the actual cost. Why do we allow... I mean, I know we've just been doing it forever, so the idea is like, oh, well, why change it? But how fucking nuts is the notion of the price you see on a sticker does not in any way, shape, or form reflect the actual cost that you will be expected to... the actual final cost of that transaction. It is a stupid system. It is mind-bogglingly stupid. But we'll probably never change it, because it is in the best interest of business owners everywhere to allow them to deceive you about the actual cost of the goods and services. Sorry. I'm going to go do another... No, I'm going to do a penance dab because I've been ranting for so long and so behind the chat. Penance dab, and then we'll come do a wrap-up bag. Oh, shit. Just kick the dog water bowl. Blowtorch. I can't remember what we were just talking about. Something about... I feel really bad because I often rant and complain on streams. I really don't like to think of myself as a complainer. I don't. I try not to complain. But I guess when I get really high, I just complain, which is unflattering. Hey, it's the third dog. The eldest of all the dogs. I almost forgot you guys were there. I wish I were being insincere. But it is good to see you. When I turned back, it was like, oh, the camera light's on. Got an audience. Let's get our bag here. Let me again apologize for again getting into political controversial topics. It is never my intention, I promise. But see aforementioned comments about how when I get high I tend to complain and bitch and moan. So my apologies. I'm just going to fast forward through anything remotely political in chat. We really just, none of this needs to be litigated. Yeah. What good does it do? What good does it do? Okay, Lenore says, missed the question about, or maybe I didn't hear, but do you have any personal weed THC theories? Lenore, would you mind expanding upon that question? I'm not sure exactly what you mean by personal weed or THC theories. But probably if I had a more... Your question is totally fine and understandable. I'm just, my reading comprehension. And problem-solving skills. King Yeti says, well, you said if you're conservative, you might have a problem with the diversity there. All people want to be around like-minded individuals. Conservatives are more likely to have a friendly conversation or debate. King Yeti, yes. Sorry. It's taking me so long to get there. But yes, that's what I was trying to say. Is like it is a reasonable, understandable human reaction to want to be around people who are like you. There is nothing that nobody should be shamed for wanting to be around people that they can commiserate with and have a sense of community with. Totally understand that. Indisputable. I promise I said, oh my god, I wasn't going to talk about political stuff. So I'm not. No, you guys are not. You guys are fine. None of you, are responsible for me talking about anything bad. King Yeti says, I'm a Rothbardian anarchist, just so you know. What is a Rothbardian? I know, I mean, I'm gonna have to do... Oh. Wow. The Austrian economics dude. Okay. Very cool, man. It is an interesting philosophy, the Austrian School of Economics. A lot of very, very smart people have. Okay, yeah, even boy, that is a rabbit hole filled with landmines, filled with black holes of endless debates and pointless tautologies. Lenore says, I ask about tolerance because I am an unseasoned smoker, less than a year, and very moderately. I bought some 34% top shelf in Vegas. Didn't really do it for me. Wow. Lenore, that is surprising. If you have, with that low of a tolerance, 34% THC weed should be screamingly strong. So maybe they had some, maybe they stored it wrong, maybe they cured it wrong. I mean, it should have been tested, but it was stored wrong in the store or something, and weed can go stale and lose its potency. I mean, it should still, retain something, but there, of course, is the longer you go without consuming it, the sort of lower the THC percentage will go. And of course, there's not a totally linear rate or anything, but and that will be exacerbated if you don't store it properly, like if it was in UV light, or if it was exposed to air or oxygen. Any of those things could have degraded the quality of the weed, because 34% is great weed, and if you don't have even if you had a high tolerance, 34% weed you should feel it. This is 36% THC weed, and I have a prodigious tolerance, and I feel it quite a bit. Jason says, do you have any wild glass pieces that you almost don't want to smoke out of because they're ridiculous? Jason, great question. I am not a glass collector. I am not a glass enthusiast. I'm not, I don't, so if I had a really fancy, super cool looking piece, I wouldn't want to smoke out of it, not so much because I'd be very precious over it, but just because I think about, my God, this thing it's gonna fucking suck to clean this thing. I think all that stuff is really cool, and I really, dig it as a, somebody who appreciates it, to, look at fun pictures on the internet of cool bongs and pieces. But I'm too lazy for them. And then, most importantly, primarily, I am far, far too clumsy. I cannot. It's probably not that don't like the idea of very cool looking pieces and don't want them, but there's probably some kind of I have some kind of psychological protection that is just don't be interested in that stuff, you dumb klutzy piece of shit, because you're gonna break it, and in the process break your heart when you break your favorite Calvin and Hobbes themed bong artistic masterpiece. So I don't have anything fancy in the sink, which has been there since last week. Shame on me. I do have my one nice glass bong. Not that it's opulent or ornate or anything. It's just a straight piece of glass. But it is very nice quality. But it broke the down stem. And I have to get that replaced. And I just haven't yet. Boy, sorry, long answers. King Yeti says, depends on your own biology. I don't get high on sativa at all, hardly. And that it may also very well be true for you, Lenore. I know there are people that are very, very, very attuned to specific strains, like strain X does nothing for me, but strain Y will put me on the moon for 12 hours. Unfortunately, my experiences are not that way. Mine are much more flattened. But you may be somebody who is more, again, attuned to being very strain sensitive, and you may have just found a strain that did nothing for you. And that sucks if that was the case, Lenore. Well, it sucks no matter what happened, because you got some nice weed and it did nothing for you. That's always going to be a disappointment. That's what you meant is weed theories on tolerance. Lenore, here are some things on tolerance that I would say. Everything you've heard about tolerance breaks are true. The tolerance break is one of the greatest things about weed. It is pretty great how quickly your body will sort of reset to things. For me, it's like it comes in kind of, there are different sort of levels. 48 hours, 2 days with a 2-day abstinence produces a very noticeable reduction in tolerance. And then from there, just simply sort of expands out by about 2 weeks. If I go that long, I'm, 80 to 90% back. And then from there, it's like greatly diminishing returns. But, tolerance breaks are great. You should absolutely take advantage of them, especially if doing a lot of daily imbibing. Take 2 days off. And if that feels like, oh, that was not a problem, keep going. There's no harm in not smoking. It will be helpful to your wallet, and then also it will make going back, you will have to consume even less in the future. So the gift that keeps on giving. Gamerboy187, hello, Gamerboy, welcome. King Yeti says for his weed, he likes to feel heavy. He likes to move around a lot. I, too, like the feeling of, for weed, for me, I guess the effect that I'm in it for the most would be the more psychoactive sides. First and foremost, just the mind expanding things. It's a very generous way of saying I like how much, and the reason I should be most afraid that it's like, oh, you should probably stop smoking weed because this is not the best thing, but I can't help it. I love how weed makes everything even more interesting. I genuinely interested in a lot of things, and weed makes things that I was already interested in even more interesting, and things that I found not so interesting to be perhaps maybe compelling. I can't get enough of the ability of weed just to make things feel more vibrant. But again, that's why you should probably not smoke weed, because if you need weed every day for things to feel... it's not that I wouldn't say that don't feel vibrant. It's just that things are even more interesting on weed. I don't have a problem. You have a problem. I really am kidding. I am addicted to weed, and there is no joke about that. I mean, it is... Oh boy, just stop. Stop talking about that. Not in a sad way, but in a... you can't talk about being addicted to weed in any kind of way because, glass houses. I don't know. I don't know what point I was trying to make other than I consume too much weed still, and I could use a tolerance break myself. What is addiction, anyways? There are very clear signs of what addiction are, by the way. Mama Mara's Medibles. Hello, Mama Mara's. How can I send you some of my edibles for a review? I'd love for you to make a review with my product. Mama Mara's, you don't even have to do that. You can email me at wheatsreviews@gmail.com. I think my personal URL is dead right now. But you can just use the Gmail, wheatsreviews@gmail. And if you will point to a dispensary that carries your products somewhere close by, I live in Long Beach, I would be happy to purchase one. I prefer to do it that way, in fact. I don't review any products that I don't pay for myself. Just as a ethics thing or whatever. But I would love to... I'd be happy to try it if you tell me where I can buy it. Lenore says, nothing like breaking a $3,000 piece would just lay crying on the floor. I hope nobody... I mean, I'm sure there are, some Saudi princes probably have $3,000 bongs, but I hope nobody that has a mortgage has a $3,000 bong, especially one made from glass that can break. Like, why? No judgment. If you have a $3,000 bong, good on you. You made that choice for a reason. It's not for me to say or judge why. Good for you. King Yeti lets us know that Granddaddy Purple is, or Granddaddy Perp is his brain-melting weed of choice. And that Lenore has been enjoying some Jaguar Piss. Ooh. And the Jaguar Piss works 60% of the time. It works 100% of the time. Just like Panther Piss or whatever that Anchorman scent was. Way says, higher euphoric, woohoo. Way, welcome on Periscope. I'm so glad you could join us. And we're talking more about cat piss. God, you gotta love the weed. I mean, I've been in this world for a long time, and every now and then I still just marvel at the glory of weed names and how unpretentious and unprecious they are. Anybody who calls their product proudly calls it cat piss. Those are my kind of people, and I say that with 100% sincerity. Nothing precious for them. Way says, have you ever tried watermelon Skittles? I don't think so, but I'm not 100% sure. Sorry, Way. What about yourself? Do you, big fan? Not a fan? Curious. Um, Mama Mara's Medable says, "Oh wow, I just moved from Long Beach, but will be traveling back next month in August. I will email you." Sounds great, Mama Maris. I look forward to it. Looks like everybody in the chat here is a big fan of the Granddaddy Perp. I should get on that Perp train. It's been... That's, just heard a giggle from the balcony. Yeah, I realized how odd that phrasing was, just as soon as the audience did. Way says on Periscope that they want to try some indica. Oh, if you've never done indica, you are missing out. That's half the spectrum. I had a video. I don't know if I shot it. I definitely wrote it. It was actually the most research I ever did for a video. That was a weird period in Wheat's history where I did those exposés. That was fun. I really did enjoy that. I had a great time writing those, and a great time getting people upset. But I did write a video. I don't think I ever actually recorded it, about strains and this sort of, I don't know, the notion of strains. And in that video, while researching it, I came across where the term cannabis indica was accepted into common parlance, because it was the term, like, indica was a term for a specific kind of weed, but it wasn't used at all. The reason that we now have the term indica, and really the reason that we have this whole idea of this bifurcation of the whole weed market of indicas and sativas, comes from a legal argument. It's great. And the story is actually even greater than this little snippet I'll tell you. Maybe I'll release that video at some point, or actually shoot it. It comes from a legal argument, indica, where a guy, and the guy is also part of why this story is even cooler and weirder, who got caught smuggling weed in from Mexico, I believe. Maybe not. Maybe it was Canada. I can't... Whatever. Guy gets caught smuggling weed right after basically the Drug Act went into effect. And his lawyers decided to try this gambit of a legal strategy, which is the DEA, the feds had just made cannabis sativa, basically the scientific name of weed, illegal. And what this guy argued, bringing smuggled in, was from a different area. I mean, he had intentionally imported this to bring a different kind of weed in. But he argued, him and his lawyers concocted this thing where it's like, oh, the weed we have is so different that it's a different species. It's not cannabis sativa. It's this new thing, cannabis indica, and that's not illegal. You can't arrest. That was an unlawful arrest. My client can't be in jail because he wasn't smuggling anything illegal. He had cannabis indica, not that cannabis sativa shit. It didn't work, but it still put a cultural time bomb out there. Cool story. I can't believe I had never heard it before. I can't believe how that's not more sort of traded in weed circles as like a really cool story. I mean, people love, weed mythology, and that's not apocryphal like most, stories about weed are, like where 420 comes from and shit. That's just, it's true. But it's just not as known. It's a really cool little, at least I thought it was. Anyways, I'm going to wrap up here on chat. We're going to do a lightning round. I'm going to finish off this bag. Lenore says, I want to try something other than flour. I vape dry bud about 90% of the time. Otherwise, I'll use a gravity bomb. I assume he meant mom. They. Well, gravity bongs are amazing. Love them. I really would love to get one of the fancy ones, but see my earlier comments about glass. I'm afraid I would break it. The only time I've ever done gravity bongs are the times where I do the most DIY of bongs, which is like duct taping 2 2-liter bottles together basically to do it. It's crazy how effective gravity bongs are. In terms of wax, shatter, all that, give it a shot, but Lenore, it's not going to do anything. It's not going to... Don't let anybody oversell those to you. They are quite strong, but they're just weed. And they're just more concentrated versions. Really, if you want to do something that's going to be sort of, different level, a high-dose edible is going to be the way to go. And especially if you've never done edibles before, and you start with a high dose, it will be revelatory. Jason says, I would hit wax if I could and burn less flour. Jason, is that a result? I can't remember. I think we had talked briefly. Is that a result of market forces, or it makes you cough? Why aren't you doing the wax as much? King Yeti says wax is great. They're almost completely converted. I am totally ambivalent about wax and flour. I wouldn't say totally ambivalent. I would say I slightly prefer wax, but I'm happy with either. Oscar says, I don't live to live. Oscar, I'm sorry. That sounds terrible. And welcome, Oscar. I hope you live for some other reason, more than just to live. Actually, that might be quite optimistic. Like, I don't live to just live. I live to fuck, right? Like, is that, maybe that's what it is? Like, I don't live, I'm not going to take this life sitting down. This life ain't going to catch me with my pants around my ankles. Sorry. Lenore says, definitely dab. I get great therapeutic help with dab. Seems like, Lenore, a lot of people are saying, dab, 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 dab. Give it a shot. Listen to the mob. Oscar says, look at it closely. I don't live to live. Oh. I am... hey, it's a dog! Oscar, I am sorry, man. I don't quite divine the meaning. Lenore says, we'll definitely give it a shot at least once. There we go. When they visit a legal state. Well, Lenore, I hope you get back out to Nevada or somewhere close by soon. I don't know if you mentioned, Lenore, where you're at or not, but I hope you get out to one soon and get stockpiled up. Antonio! Aw, man. That's so very incredibly, wonderfully kind of you. You don't have to do that. Nobody, I really thank you very much for that. That's insanely kind of you. Yeah, I really appreciate it. Please do not ever feel obligated to do that. And then even if you feel like you really want to do it, question first if maybe you want to give it to somebody more needing, that more needs it more. But that's very, very, very incredibly generous and kind of you, Antonio. Thank you. Jason says, wax just isn't available to me, not in a legal state. Sorry, Jason. Lenore is in the same boat. Antonio says they are a fan of carts. And I am too, and I thank you again. Well, I'm going to take our last question here from our good friend, the pecan tree. What kind of pup is the golden pup? She only shows up golden in this poorly lit area. She's quite blonde otherwise. She is a border collie mix. She's our oldest dog. She's 9. She's 9. No, she's 10. She's 9? She's 9. Yes. She's a border collie mix. People always say that she is the perfect sized dog. Like, that's the weird thing. People are always like, oh, she's the perfect size. Last dumb anecdote, and then I will let everybody go to bed, including myself. 9.5. Nice. Yeah, split the difference. One of the two. 9.5. Close enough. So, border collie mix. Tiny dog. She's like 30, less than 30 pounds. When we got her from the shelter, I always wanted big dogs. I love big dogs. Huge dogs. Love big, massive dogs. So when we were looking at the shelter, we were looking for... Well, we weren't really looking for a dog, but we accidentally were looking for a dog. We were accidentally looking for a big one. And the shelter said, oh, this dog is a Great Pyrenees Australian Shepherd mix. It's like, wow, that's going to be a huge dog. That sounds cool. The puppy, she was adorable as a puppy. So we fill out the adoption form for her. And it's like, how big do you want your dog to be? And I wrote like 50 pounds, question mark. And as we're like going through the adoption process, as we're, doing the whole background check and stuff to get the dog, the person who's doing the outtake, I guess, looks at that thing. She's like, 50 pounds. She's like, you better be prepared. This dog is going to be way bigger than 50 pounds. I was like, secretly, I was like, yes, I love it. She's going to be huge. And then she never got huge ever. And it became very clearly apparent quite quickly that they were very wrong about what she was. She's some kind of border collie mix. And now I have another border collie and a Great Dane. So got the big dog too. And that, guys, is going to do it. Thank you. I really had a great time hanging out with everybody. It's a blast. It's been so much fun. Tomorrow is Friday. If I do stream tomorrow, it will be around the same time, but I can't guarantee I will be here. I will try to post on Twitter if I do. So maybe follow me there. Anyways, thank you so much, guys. It's been a blast hanging out.